Hello, this is Horror Studio 1, and this is my unedited podcast. Hello, this is Horror Studio 1, and once again, you have tuned into the unedited podcast. How is everyone doing? Is everyone doing good? It feels like it's been a long time since I've actually talked to you guys, and I don't know. Just doesn't feel right. Maybe I'll be doing these more often. Maybe I'll just do them once a week. Just depending on my schedule, I guess, and what you guys respond to more. So I came across the topic of dormitories and haunted dormitory stories through doing research, actually, because, I've been trying to do more diverse types of videos, but, aside from the creepypastas and stuff that I started my channel doing, I wanted to get back to doing a lot more countdown videos as well, and I wanted to find more interesting countdown topics for you guys. So I was searching various different types of ghost stories, from bus transportation ghost stories till more Asian ghost stories to dormitory ghost stories in universities or in colleges, because that's a pretty interesting thing, and I wanted to research and do a compilation video, but I stumbled on a few of them, and one that really got my attention was this one. It kind of freaked me out, and it actually reminded me of my own experiences in university. Granted, I did live on residence my first year of university, and I lived away from home in a totally different city afterwards. So for a couple of years I lived away from home, and I've experienced that whole thing, but luckily nothing paranormal or bad has ever really happened to me, besides obviously the only bad stuff that happened is getting bad marks because I was having too much fun, I guess. So that was the only bad thing that happened. Okay, in comparison, I probably would have rather encountered something paranormal than to get the marks that I eventually got. Anyways, enough about my bad grades at school. Basically, reminded me of those those experiences I had. Makes me sound like I, slept with a ghost or some shit. So those kind of experiences I had, and that one particular half paranormal experience I had, which I already mentioned in a previous podcast, but I'll still revisit that and maybe talk a bit about that. And I met a psychic during my time at university, which was pretty interesting, and I can talk a bit about that, and then I can talk about my cousin's own ghost story at his university, and the online ghost story that eventually prompted me to make this unedited podcast. So there's a lot of material to cover today. It probably won't be as long as the 10 Asian urban legends podcast. That was just hardcore. After that, I had to stop for a while because that was so hard. But this is going to be pretty interesting too. If you guys don't know, I went to university in a totally different city. So I currently live in Toronto, around Toronto. But this place was really far away from Toronto, and it was actually deemed to be the drug city of Ontario, of our province. It is the drug city. It is the crime city, the most concentrated criminal city in our province. Like it used to be even worse, and it just has a name for that. I mean, I'm not gonna name the name of the city, but for those individuals in Ontario around this area, you guys will probably know what I'm talking about. So it is the crime city of the province. So I was going there for university, for a program in criminology. Is that what is that called? I don't know what that's called. Sorry, I just paused. I was trying to get that name. Ironic. God damn, motherfucker. I'm so slow today. What's going on, man? See, that's what happens when you don't do podcasts every day. You're the wheel spinning in your head is it's slow. You gotta turn that shit up, man. Okay, so I was there going to school, and then I lived there as well. Gotta get the full experience, right? So I lived at residence with a bunch of people. It was really great, living there. All the late nights you spent outside under the stars with the wind blowing. It was fall time too, right? So it was really good weather, and you just met a new group of friends. And I mean, getting along with people wasn't as easy as I had thought because I never actually fully lived away from home like that prior to that experience. But especially with people that you don't, you don't really know, right? And the people I lived with were a lot of they really like to party, right? And I did as well. Like I didn't really drink a lot before then, but I was generally an outgoing individual and a happy person. So I mixed in with that crowd quite well. But it's just that my buddies, my roommates, they actually partied a lot, and maybe it was a bit too much for me, so I didn't go out with them 100% of the time. Sometimes I just like to stay in with other friends I'd met, and we just talk and chill about stuff, and and to spend time in the dorm. Really, it was a lot of fun. You can go from room to room because it was also a shared dormitory with males and females, so you can basically go from your room to another person's house, and you guys can talk and chill for a bit, and then you just go back to your own place, kind of thing. And it was a lot of fun. It was like all your friends living in the same building. It was like it was a sitcom waiting to happen kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun. I drank a lot of alcohol during that time. It was the time I drank most alcohol. I would drink every night or something like that. Like I would, we drank so much that basically we made a tower from the amount of alcohol that we drank. And it wasn't all beer either. There was stuff like liquor and all that kind of stuff, and we would place them on our tables, on our desks, in our rooms, in 1, 2, 3, 4, like in categories or whatnot, and it was like our trophies, of just fun and that kind of stuff. And I remember during that time that song was playing, Young and Wild and Free. So what, we get drunk, so what, we smoke weed, we're just... And that song was playing all the time, and that was just... It was symbolic of the time that I guess we were experiencing during that age. And and hopefully this doesn't get copyrighted. God, I just sang... Because they're so hectic about that kind of stuff. Sometimes my videos on YouTube, I don't even put music, and then it's some kind of like copyright from some kind of company, so I don't know about that. But I make so many videos, unless it's really it really influences my thing. I don't argue with YouTube a lot of the time, because the only thing is that they don't monetize it, which money to me is not really that big of a deal, especially if it's just for one video. I make like one a day or something, so it's not a big deal. But it's frustrating sometimes. Like, I didn't even put music into this. How is this copyrighted by a music label? What, because my voice is too melodic? Is it because of that? Then thank you. But no, that is my take on my university experience. Is pretty good. And that story that I had actually was, I just sort of talk a bit about that. I talked about it in my previous podcast where I was walking home. This is my second year of university. It wasn't my first year. I was walking home, and then from my friend's house, and then I just heard a sound from me, and it was like a Beyblade spinning. I don't know if you guys are in that age, but that zzz, like that kind of sound is like the drilling sound or whatnot, and it kept following me. And then I never really heard it, but I would walk, and then it would start, and I would turn around, and it would be gone, and then I'd walk a few more steps, and then the farther I walked, it seemed like something was following me. And it wasn't car sounds, it wasn't train sounds, it wasn't people laughing sounds, and it was really late in the middle of the night. It was like 12 o'clock, so granted, in that particular atmosphere, in that city known as the crime city of the province and stuff, it really racks your brains when you hear this weird noise, man. It could be a killer, it could be a criminal, it could be a druggie, it could be a ghost, it could be anything, it could be ghost rape, whatever. So that kind of freaked me out as well. And during that time, actually, in university, I met a psychic. And this guy, I actually met him in the library. He was a pretty weird kid, and I didn't really like him at first. But I had to go to the library a lot to study and do my homework because I couldn't concentrate at home. Granted, there was always a lot of people there. It was always a lot of fun kind of thing. So being, if you guys know me personally or know me by this channel, and you hear me just talk freely, you will know that I tend to get off topic a lot, and I'm getting better at that. But you guys know how I can jump from one thing to the next, not really knowing what I'm doing kind of thing. Because when I was a kid, I was kind of diagnosed with ADD, attention deficit disorder. It's not really serious. I didn't have to take medication, but the thing was, when I was a kid and I would go to school, I would basically walk around. The teacher would be talking and I would just won't care, and I just fucking walk around the classroom, and people were like, hey, Horror Studio 1, sit back down in your seat, kind of thing. And they had to diagnose me, I guess, with that, because I couldn't pay attention to anything. I couldn't learn. I would just, be in my own thoughts, or I'd be distracted easily by things going on around me, kind of things. And I'm still kind of like that. So when I study, especially, or when I'm trying to do something, it's better if I'm alone, or where I can fully 100% concentrate. Now as I age, I'm getting better at that, controlling that. But when I was like a teen, when I was like younger, it would be crazy. Like, if people were talking around me, I couldn't focus. I would be eavesdropping on people, the guy on the left, the guy on the right. I'd be looking at everything, kind of thing. And so I had to go to the library to study, and that's where I met this psychic dude. He was a really cool dude. I eventually became a really cool dude, and he actually taught me a lot about, paranormal things, around the town. And he talked a lot about, because he said that his mom was basically a psychic as well, and they're pretty secretive people. He says that, I guess it has something to do with astral projection, where he says that at nighttime, they basically, I asked him what his job was, and he said that his job was, as he sleeps, his spirit would come out of his body and go to near the other side to help other people as guides or something like that. He didn't really give me a lot of details, and it was a bunch of years ago, so I don't really remember the full details, but that was around the gist of what his job was. Because I was like, why are you always, he was a bit older then. He probably was around 25 at that time, and I was like 20 or 19, and I was like, why are you always in the library, like, chilling? Every time I come here to study, I see you. And then he's like, well, like, he works at night, kind of thing. And then I didn't know what it was at first, but as I talked to him, that was his job, and I was really interested, because I'm interested in this kind of stuff. So I talked to him for a bit more, and he told me all these stories about his mom being, his whole family basically being psychics, and that the town itself had a lot of history and not a lot of good things when it comes to, I guess, about demonic energies and stuff like that. He talked a bit about that, about the town I was in, and he made it really mysterious. I do believe him, because he was actually physically impaired as well as a person. Like, his hand was, I don't know what kind of disease, I think he had as a child or something like that, but his legs, he couldn't walk properly, and his hand was kind of deformed, and his back was kind of arched, kind of thing, all the time. And he looked like he was a lot older than 25, to be honest. But yeah, I talked to him for a while, and that was really interesting. He taught me a lot about and told me to read a lot of books about the paranormal stuff, because he knew I was pretty interested in that stuff. And he told my future. He said that I'll be richer than my dad. And I guess I'm pretty happy about that. He's like, yeah, you'll have like a white picket fence and all that stuff, and my job will influence a lot of people. So that's what he said. I didn't say that. He said that, and I still remember it to this day. But back then I was so immature when I asked him that if I was gonna be really, 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 really rich, and he said no. I was actually depressed for like a day, because I was like, fuck. But then you don't let that stuff influence you all the time, because I've had tarot card readings as well that that weren't true, and then I had to have some that kind of made sense. But I realized that as I get older, your fate is in your hands. You don't let other people judge your fate, kind of thing. So yeah, that was, man, I just told you all my experiences at college. But yeah, it was eye-opening for me, to move to a different city and live. And I suggest all you guys do the same, regardless of the experience. If it's good or bad, or you get good marks, you get bad marks, it'll be a part of your life that you will always remember. So if you guys are going to university, for those freshman people, yeah, I suggest you do go and live on residence and give it a try, despite how introverted you may be. Go do it. So let's get down to the ghost stories. Actually, my cousin, he actually lives in Toronto as well, but he actually goes to the most famous school in Toronto. So not to name any names, but for those who know what I'm talking about, yes, it's that school. And he's actually, this didn't happen to him. This paranormal experience happened to a friend of his who happened to be a dean in his university. Actually, just like a tangent, my dean from my old place, like my old university, my first year, my dean looked a lot like Justin Bieber, like like a chubbier version of Justin Bieber, and people were like, oh, it's like it looks like Justin Bieber but just chubbier. But then Justin Bieber's from Canada too, so, and also Justin Bieber was also like went to the same high school as one of my roommates. Yeah, so we always say that. We always tell people that it's like, oh yeah, Bieber went to my high school, and they were in different like years, but like he knew who that kid was, kind of thing. So it's pretty interesting. Anyways, get back to the story. My cousin, his friend who was a dean had this very interesting ghost story. Basically, it was one night when he was going home, and then he was going up his room, and he's always kind of heard noises in his room, and he's always heard crazy stuff about his dormitory, because dormitory it was a pretty old one, and as a dean, he had to take care of a lot of stuff and all that kind of stuff. Apart from hearing noises, nothing really crazy happened until one night. He was basically in his room, and he heard this like crying sound, right? And all the lights were on. It was just him by himself, and he was reading or something like that, and he heard this crying sound, and he looked around, and there was nothing, kind of thing. So he went outside to the kitchen to get a drink of water, and I think he heard the crying sound again, and it was again coming from his room. So he walks near his room, and he goes in, and he turns on the light again, and in his room there is a girl crouching on the floor crying, not showing her face. And he is stunned for 1 second, and he blinks, and the moment he blinks, the girl actually disappears, and the girl's gone. And then the thing is, he's really freaked out by this incident, and then he just goes, he pretends it never happens, I guess, but I don't know how you can see a sight like that and pretend it never happened. Generally, you just get the fuck out of there, but that's just him. And then eventually he talks to his friends, and one of the other deans from a previous year who was the dean of the same exact building in the exact same room living there, said that she had the exact same experience and saw the exact same thing. So regardless, and then it was like that dormitory used to be an orphanage or something like that, to that extent. I'm guessing this has become a pretty popular story around the campuses of that university. I don't know, I don't go there, but according to my cousin, it has, and this was a real person. Like, it was in his year, it was his buddy, and he heard it from there, kind of thing. So believe it if you will. I know you guys will know what university I'm talking about. We all know what we're talking about. Anyways, that is my cousin's experience. I don't think he himself has any, and I don't have it either. So, oh my god, what the heck just happened? Because I'm basically just looking at my fucking thing. Okay, and then, there's like an error on my... Yeah, on my video recording these days, my audio, my mic, it's getting messed up these days. I don't know why. It just keeps like turning off by itself and all that crazy shit. I mean, it's gonna piss me off if I record like 20 minutes of this shit and then I realize that the mic like turned off halfway, man. Yeah, it was like blinking and shit. That's crazy. Anyways, okay. So on to the online narrative ghost story that inspired me to make this video, and I'm gonna read it for you guys. I'm gonna narrate it, and the site I always use is Your Ghost Stories. It's a really good one. Talks a lot about, I guess it goes into a lot deeper than just like a Reddit comment post, because it basically, it gets like what country they're from, how old the author is, and all that kind of stuff. So it seems a bit more legit than your typical Reddit post. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm just gonna narrate this for you guys. It was kind of freaky as well. The Dorm Room Ghost by California Spooks. It was my freshman year of college, and I had been living in the dorms for a few months now. My dorm was set up at suite number 3. My dorm was set up as a suite, 3 bedrooms, 2 girls per room, 1 bathroom, 1 living room. My roommate was no longer at college, so I had the bedroom to myself. One night, as I was falling asleep, I heard my roommate's empty bed start to squeak. At first, I thought it was just the bed setting, as furniture has a tendency to do that at night as the air cools. However, the squeaking got louder and louder, and soon it sounded like the bed was actually shaking. It really freaked me out, but I just closed my eyes and made myself fall asleep. When I woke up in the morning, I thought I must have imagined the previous night's occurrences, so I just continued on with my day. But that night, the bed started shaking again. The next morning, I checked all around the bed to see maybe it had been pushed up against the wall and it was just neighbors banging on their walls, causing the bed to move. But the bed was a good 5 inches away from the wall on every side. This shaking bed continued every night for at least a week, maybe even longer. Looking back on it now, I can't believe that I didn't do something about it sooner. I can't even believe that I was able to fall asleep each night with the amount of the bed was shaking. Finally, one night, when the bed was making noise, I said out loud, "Please stop! Just please stop!" And it never happened again. There was, however, one more incident that occurred in my dorm, one that scared me even more than the bed. I was getting ready to go out one night. All of my suite mates were already out, so I was the only one in our suite. I had just finished getting dressed and wanted to look at my outfit in the mirror, so I went into one of my suite mates' rooms. Their room was only one with a full-length mirror. I walked into the dark room and flipped the light switch, but the light didn't come on. I started to walk across the room to the lamp sitting on the desk, when all of a sudden, I heard a loud, urgent whisper coming from the closet saying, "Michael." I ran out of that room as fast as I could and didn't stop until I made it safely to my friend's house. I ran all over the possibilities in my head, but nothing made sense. I'm sure it was a whisper in that room, and not just a muffled shout from a neighbor. I am 100% positive that I was the only one in my suite that night. I tried to do some research to see if there were any reports of anyone dying in the dorms, but I didn't come up with anything. I've always believed in ghosts, but have never had any type of remarkable experiences apart from these. I still get goosebumps thinking about that whisper coming from the closet. Alright, so that is that story. That's pretty scary. Chills reading it. Yeah, it's that one kind of freaked me out. Do you want to hear the next one? I haven't read this before, but I'm just going to narrate it for you guys. I was sitting in my dorm room with my roommate. We both had our headphones on, completely ignoring each other. My suite mate already left the dorm entirely. I was sitting at my desk working on homework and listening to music. Well, around 8 p.m. on January 13th, 2014, I started seeing a dark figure in my doorway leading to my common area, which is on my right side. I share with my 2 other roommates, suite mates. Both are gone at this time. I saw this figure about 2 to 4 minutes over the course of about 30 minutes. About 10 minutes after I saw it the last time in the doorway, I saw a black mass standing to my left. It blocked the view of my window and of my roommate. I knew it wasn't my eyes playing tricks on me, so I threw off my headphones and asked my roommate if he feels anyone else in the room. It was a dumb question because I have come to believe that he is a pathological liar, or at least enjoys telling stories that sound really cool but are extremely fake. I sent a text message to my friend that is in the other dorm hall. She thinks it could be the same spirit that was in her room. Fuck. However, if it is the same spirit, then our rooms are not the first one he has been in. In her room, he threw off all the things on her desk and knocked all over the wall clock she had. It had been in 2 of my friend's rooms, both girls. In one room, the spirit opened both of her windows and her room forcefully. In the other's room, while her roommate was asleep on top of her blankets, the spirit tucked her in, as in pulled the blankets over her sleeping body. That's creepy. She thanked them the next day, but only to find none of them touched her. Oh, okay. What's going on? Is the spirit something to worry about? Are we all dealing with a different being? How can we stop this, and if it is a bad spirit, without being mad at us? P.S. If I referred to the spirit as a he, I'm sorry. My friend took to calling him, so when I talk about it, it is a he. That's pretty creepy. This is not as creepy as the last one. So I just read this one, first time reading it. So, wow. Okay, so luckily I have never had that experience in my lifetime during my years at college, and hopefully I never will have that. So, yep, there you go, guys. Dormitory, university, college ghost stories. If you guys want to hear more, comment in the comment section below, and I will make a full with music story about this, and it just won't be me talking about PS all the time. I know some of you guys don't like that, but it's a way to release myself, and some of you guys enjoys knowing the real horror studio one. So thank you guys for listening to my ghost stories, and if you guys listen to my whole podcast videos, you guys are awesome. And if you guys do that, please comment in the section below who listens to the whole podcast, because I will personally thank you. Thank you so much, guys, and hope to hear from you soon. Hope to hear from me soon. Bye bye. See ya.